Okay, we are going to talk about the solution of this paper. The first one, negative 2b to the power 5 bracket to the power negative 4. We can do it this way. First of all, we can multiply the index to each of them. Because there's only one term only, then you can do so. So that you will get negative 2 to the power negative 4 times b to the power 5 times negative 4. That's negative 20. And next, you will see that for this one, negative 2 to the power negative 4, that means 1 over negative 2 to the power positive 4. And for the b to the power negative 20, it moves to denominator, become b to the power 20 here. So final answer, that will become negative 2 to the power 4 here, that's 16. And then b to the power 20, that's the answer. So the answer is D for dot. And for question number 2, fx equal to 3x squared minus 4x plus 5, you need to find f negative 2a. That means this is replace x. Use negative 2a to replace x. So you will get f bracket negative 2a equals 3 bracket negative 2a all square minus 4 bracket negative 2a plus 5. Okay, let me increase the size of this one. Okay, I hope that is better. And you will get that is 3 to the power positive 4a all square here. Negative 2a bracket square, that is positive 4a. Negative 4 times negative 2, positive 8a plus 5. So final answer, positive 12a square plus 8a plus 5. And hence the answer will be C. So move to the third one. It is given that z vary directly square of x and inversely as square root of y. Pay attention to this one. Okay, so actually this is a joint variation. It is not a partial variation, it's a joint variation. So z can be written as a constant k times x squared, because that is direct variation with x squared, and then divided by square root of y. Now x is decreased by 40%, y is increased by 44%, then find the change of z. And in here you can do in this way. In MC, you can let x equals 1, the original x is 1, and the original y is 1. So how about the new x? New x will be 0.6 because it decreased by 44%. And new y will be 1.44 because that is increased by 44%. So you find the percentage change of z, that will be 0.6 brackets all square over square root 1.44. That's the new value of z minus the original value of z, 1. Because when x equals 1, y equals 1, you can also assume k equals 1. So z equals 1 divided by the original value of z times 100%. Then just use your calculator. 0.6 square divided by square root 1.44, negative 0.3 minus 1 times 100%. So you can find that it is negative 70%. And that means it is decreased by 70%. So the answer is A. And go to question number 4. Let gx be this one. You can see there's a power 4. Okay, there's a polynomial with m is a constant. G negative 3 is negative 6. So you can see that we can find m directly. That is m bracket negative 3 to the power 4 plus negative 3 bracket square plus negative 3 plus 6 equal to negative 6. Okay, not 0, okay, but negative 6. So that will be 81m plus 9 minus 3 plus 6 equals negative 6. then you can find M. So negative 6 minus 6 again plus 3 minus 9 and then divided by 81. You will find M is negative 2 over 9. So find the remainder when Gx is divided by x minus 2. That means the remainder is G2 by remainder theorem. Okay, so negative 2 over 9 times 2 to the power 4 plus 2 square plus 2 plus 6. Then you just use your calculator to get the answer. Negative 2 over 9 times 2 to the power 4 plus 2 square plus 2 plus 6, and then change to this one. So you will get the answer is 76 over 9, and the answer is C. So let's move to the next one. Now suppose A is less than 0, B is greater than 0, C is greater than 0. Which of the following would be the graph of AX plus BY plus C equal to 0? There are two methods to do so. The first one is you start from the definition of the slope-intercept form. That means you make Y be the subject. BY equals negative AX minus C, and Y become negative A over B X minus C over B. So that is the slope of the straight line. Okay, the coefficient of x is the slope of the straight line when you make y be the subject of the equation. Okay, when you make y be the subject of the equation, then the coefficient of x will be the slope of the straight line, and the constant term will be the y-intercept or the vertical intercept. So check the sign. A is negative, B is positive. So the final expression here will be positive. And how about the y-intercept? C is positive, B is positive. So the final expression here, y-intercept will be negative. When the slope is positive, it will move up like this. So C and D are not the answer. And then the y-intercept will be negative. So here, A is not the answer. So the answer is B, B for boy. That's the first method to do this. The second method, since A, B, and C are just a constant, in MC you can try to substitute some number here. For example, A is negative 1, B is positive 1, and C is positive 1. What's happened? Then you can see the equation become negative x plus y plus 1 equal to 0. So you can make y be positive. Y equals x minus 1. Then you can try to draw this equation in the graph paper and check the shape, okay? Check the position of the straight line. Then you can also find the suitable answer. Okay, for question number 6, a quite standard question about the compound interest. A sum of $400,000 is deposited in a bank, and the interest rate here, important, 4% per annum. That means every year. But that's not enough. Not just only pay attention to the interest rate, you need to also pay attention to the number of counting, okay? Compound half yearly. That means 1 year count 2 times. 1 year, you will count 2 times. Now you have 3 years, so they will count 6 times. And also, the annual rate is 4%. That means for half year, the effective interest rate will be 2%. The effective interest rate will be 2%, not 4. So the interest will be the principal times 1 plus, there's not 4% here, it's 2%. How does it come from? That is 4% over 2, the annual rate divided by 2, because we are considering the half year, okay? And here, the index will be 2 times 3, that's 6, okay? Because 1 year, it counts 2 times, so 3 years, we count 6 times. That's we call the amount, the principal plus the interest. But we just want interest, so we need to minus the principal. And use a calculator, 400,000 times 1.02 to the power 6 minus 400,000. You will get this one, 50 something. So the answer is B for boy. A very standard question. Okay, for question number 7, quite tricky. The scale of a map is 1 to 400. What does that mean, the scale on a map? That means it's talking about the length scale. Okay, that's a key concept, length scale. The length in a map, when you multiply to 400, it will become the length in the actual state, okay? I repeat, the length in a map multiplied to 400, it will become the actual length. But the question gives you now the actual area. Pay attention. Okay? How do we think in this way? Not just the length multiplied 400, but the width also multiplied 400. That's the situation on a map. Okay? You don't know the length, you don't know the width, but now become the actual one. The length in the map, you need to multiply to 400. The width of the on the map, you also need to multiply to 400. So you will see that when you consider the area, it will be something like 400 times 400 again. The square comes out 400 square something. Okay, so not just use this one to directly find the area of the paper on the map. You need to consider something square. We let small letter a be the area on the map. Actual area 2400 in meter square. Actually, there's a 1 over 400. There's a length on the map over the actual length, but bracket square. That's a square comes out. Okay, the width multiplied to 400 times. The width also multiplied to 400 times. So you can find A, but it's not a very big number, it's quite small. 1 over 400 bracket square times 2400. You will find this something like this, 0.015. But remember, that is in meter square. How to change it back to cm square? 1 meter square, that is 10,000 cm square. So we need to multiply this number by 10,000. So that would be 150 cm square. And the answer would be B again. So go to question number 8. The figure shows the graph of this one. Okay, you can see there's a quadratic graph. ax squared plus bx minus 70. Which of the following would be the correct equation? Okay. Now try to substitute some number in there. Okay. When you can see that and x equals to 2, y equal to 0. Also, when x equals to 5, y also equals to 0. You can substitute all these numbers in the expressions to find a and b, and then factorize. That's the original method, but too slow. Now, let me introduce another faster method so that you can do such kind of question very easily. As you can see, this quadratic graph cut the x-axis at 2 and 5. So you can think, when you solve the x-intercept of this graph, the final step must be something like x equals 2 or x equals 5, right? So when you change it back into the factor form, it must be something like this. That means when you consider to find the x-intercept of this quadratic graph, the format of the equation must have some factor like this. So you can write, actually the graph y must have something like x minus 2 plus x minus 5 multiply a constant a. And this a will be non-zero. When a is 0, then this becomes a y equals 0. There's an x-axis that we don't want. But the key point is, when a is non-zero, it must form a quadratic graph. We always pass through these two x-intercepts, 2 and 5. If a is positive, it may open upward. If a is larger, positive, then the curve will be more steep. When a is negative, it will open downward. So the next step is we need to determine a. So check the constant term here. How do we get this negative 70? That is a times negative 2 times negative 5. So you can solve this equation to get a equals to negative 7. And hence, C will be your answer. It's much faster than you substitute these 2 points in the equation to solve this. So remember, next time if the question gives you 2 x-intercepts of the quadratic function, you can directly write down the equation in this way. There's 2 factors, x minus 2 times x minus 5. But remember to add this one. Okay? There's a constant a in front of it to control the opening direction of the quadratic graph. So let's move to question number 9. The height and the base of the triangle ABC measure the value. Okay, so when you see this one and you see something like interval, that is a hint to let you to know about the approximation problem. Okay, and there's a measure length. Okay, there's a 8.0 cm and 6.0 cm, height 8.0, base 6.0, and the smallest interval is 2.2 millimeter. So you can find the lower limit of the height, that will be 80 millimeter minus 2, and the lower limit of the base will be 60 millimeter minus 2. If you write in this way, that will be wrong, because you are not just minus the smallest interval, you need to minus the maximum error. Simply say that is called, okay, the smallest interval divided by 2, because this error comes out. Okay, to decide whether the measured value will move to another marking or not. Okay, if the measured length is larger than the half of the smallest interval, it will run up or run off to the next level. Otherwise, it will run down to the previous level. Okay, so we need to divide it by 2, and the lower limit of height times lower limit of width out of the base divided by 2. So you can get that will be 80 minus 1 times 60 minus 1 divided by 2. 303.5. Okay, so you will see that should be C or D. A, B are not the answer. But pay attention is, when you are considering the lower limit, it can be equals to. Okay, it can be equals to the lower limit. Okay, so the answer is C, not D. For question number 10, x is very inversely a square of y. So x is equal to a over square root of y, and y very directly as cube of z. So y equals to b times z cube. Which of the following must be a constant? You can try to substitute this one inside here. So x equals to a over square root b times z cube, and see what's happened. Let's take square, x square. Is this something like x square? No, so we will not take x square. And we can Oh, sorry, I made a mistake here. X vary inversely as square of y, so it should be y square. Okay, let me make the correction, sorry. And z equals y equals to b times z cubed. Therefore, x equals to a over bracket b to z cubed and then square again. So x equals to a over b square z to the power 6, and you can make a and b on one side. So x z 6 equals to a over b square. So the answer is D. D for dog. X times z to the power 6 is a constant. Now, next one, you need to solve this equation. This one means and. That's 1 less than negative 3x minus 2 and negative 3x minus 2 less than x. Okay, split into two parts. First one, quite straightforward. 3x less than negative 3, x less than negative 1. Okay, and another one, that is negative 2 less than 4x. And pay attention here. You want to move it back 4x here, then the inequality sign will change to here in this way. 4x greater than negative 2. So x greater than negative 1/2. So try to draw the graph. Negative 1 actually is less than negative 1/2. You want a number greater than 1/2 at the same time less than negative 1. There's no solution. Because and that means take the overlap region. Okay? There's no overlap for these two solutions. So the answer is D, no solution. And for question number 12, which of the following statement about this graph is correct? Like, you may say, this is not the vertex form yet. You need to change in this way. 2 minus x bracket square actually can be written as x minus 2 bracket square. Okay, no matter which one minus which one, it's also always keep the non-negative because they take square already. So x minus 2 bracket square plus 5. This is the vertex form. And it just tells you one thing. Vertex 2, 5. When there's x minus 2, the x coordinate of the vertex will be positive 2. Okay? And here, the coefficient of x squared is 1. So that is open upward. Open upward. Okay? So let's look at the statement one by one. A. The graph cuts the x-axis. As you can see, the y-coordinate of vertex is greater than 0. That means not cut the x-axis. It would not cut the x-axis. So A is wrong. B. Open downward. As I told you, the coefficient of x squared is greater than 1. So it open upward, not downward. C. The y-intercept of the graph is 5. How do we find the y-intercept? When you sub x equal to 0, then y equals to negative 2 bracket square plus 5. That is 9, not 5. The y-intercept is 9, not 5. So C is not the answer. How about D? The graph touched the line y equals 5. Y equals 5 is a line, is a horizontal line. So let's see what's happened. Suppose there's a graph y equals x minus 2 bracket square plus 5. The vertex, that's the lowest point here, 2, 5. There's a horizontal line. Draw in this way, y equals 5. It just cut the curve at one point. So that is correct. D is the answer. Okay, so let's stop here first and then later we will discuss the further question.